Welcome to Crappie Hippies at the Bench, an instructional video series on how to tie your own jigs, flies, and create your own fish-catching baits. Brought to you by Glasswater Angling for a better outdoors, makers of lead-free fishing tackle, inventors of Angle King, the Crappie Dueler, and home to hand-tied jester jigs, Ring King paddle tail grubs, lead-free jig heads, and more. Check us out at glasswaterangling.com. And now here's Crappie Hippie at the Bench.
Hey everybody, Crappie Hippie here, your tree-hugging redneck from eastern Kansas. And today we're going to look at a little mod we can do with our hackle when we're making our hackle tail jigs. What we do is we take some of the leftover materials and accentuate. And in the last video we made a little jig with just the tip of a neck hackle off a head, okay? And that left us with this sort of material left over after we got that tip action done. And I went ahead and started a 1/16 lead-free jig head, black, and I made this tail with the black saddle hackle that I showed you in the video on saddle hackle, what it is, what it looks like, and where it comes from and so forth. So showed you I had this really cool, strong stuff that Kathy got me. It's on sale. Really awesome. Paid next to nothing for it. And got enough black hackle to make many dozen jigs there. So I started one, and I put on a little, and you can see that saddle, skinnier, so on. And that is just fine. That is going to make a really nice jig. You know, they can be fatter, they can be skinnier. That's just it. You look at your hackle, like your neck hackle, like this. It's going to be on, you know, the bigger, rounder, fatter side. Your saddle hackles are going to tend to taper more rapidly, be more pointy. Is one better than the other? I don't know. Depends on the day. Depends on the fish. As far as me, you know, I don't care. I'm going to have some of both in my tackle box because you never know. You never know what they're going to do to you. Alrighty. Stop a minute and get some chenille. All right, let me come back and gotta get me some black chenille. That's what I'm going to use. Number 2 rayon, black chenille, just your basic, nothing fancy. I like fancy jigs. I like regular jigs. I like all kinds of jigs. I think they all have their place and their purpose. But today we're going to do one a little more on the fancy side. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this piece of material right here. And what I want is this spiky stuff here. See this fluff and barb? That's what we call fluff and barb down in here. We use that to do something else. So we're going to leave that alone. All right. And so I'm going to come in here, and you can cut little what they call V's, okay? You cut V's, and you don't want to, you know, you come in here, and you want to cut, you know, so they have, I don't know, anywhere from half a dozen to like 10 fibers on each side. Yeah, you can kind of experiment with your V's, how big you want them, how big you need them, you know. But you see how I'm angling this scissor to go in there so I don't cut away too many fibers. And I'm just going to take that snip, just the tips, and whap, snip the tip off. All right, snip that off. I'm going to snip, whoops, nicer pair of scissors, okay? And I'm going to save, throw that away. Don't throw it away. I mean, maybe if you only make 1/8 ounce jigs, yeah, there's probably not a whole lot you can do with it. But if you make little bitty 64th ounce, 80th ounce, 32nd ounce, jigs like that, save this. You're going to want it. All right. So let's hunt down the V's we made. There's 1, and there's 2. And I'm going to want to use up every bit of what we had left over when we tied that jig in the video before this one. So here I'm coming down. Here's the section out of the middle of that head hackle, because remember, first we cut it, and then we saw it was way too long. So we had to take some out of the middle, you know, take some more off. So I'm going to cut and get myself another couple of V's, okay? These are V's. And we're going to put those in just like that. And I'm going to cut a little more. Once again, I'm angling in. I don't want to cut the fibers if I can help it. All right, and I'm angling in. Now I'm going to get 2 out of this one. I'm going to get 2 out of this one. Cut it, okay. Pretty soon I'm going to have V's laying everywhere, but I have one last piece, okay. And I'm just going to let fate rule this, okay. So this Barbie Fluffy I'm saving back here. I'm going to just go ahead and cut that off. All right, and I'm going to set that over there. And I got me a special little box or baggie to put those in. So when I go to make a little tiny jig, and we're going to make little jigs, I'm not even going to tell you what it is and what it's called. I found that I've been making these jigs for a while, but the real method I came across doing the Lure Love podcast, and I want to share it with you, but not today. All right, so I'm going to leave you in suspense. Sorry about that, but then again, that'll make it better when I finally get around to show you. All right. So what I got here, I got one. You know, I'm gonna take half of them. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually ended up with an odd number. I ended up with 7. So I'll give these 3 kind of wimpy ones. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stack them. All right, I'm gonna stack them up. I'm gonna stack them up in my hand. Stack them up in my hand. Like this. I'm stacking them up. I'm stacking them up. So now I got 4 of them stacked together in my hand. All the butts come together here. Whoops, that one's trying to sneak away on me. Didn't do quite a good job on that little fella. Okay, so now you got this kind of crazy V looking. Whoops, let me get it in focus here. Just kind of get a crazy V looking piece of boo. And I love a chartreuse highlight in a black jig. So we're going to come in here and we're going to easy going wraps at first, and then we're going to tie this in, and we're going to tie that in. All right. Tie that right on in there, and that's what we get, just like that. Now, if you don't think that's cool, I can't help you. I can't help you a bit. I think it's just too cool. Now, you can turn the jig over. You can tie it in blinds. That's what I did for years. You guys know that I had a D.H. Thompson fixed vise forever. And cinch it all in, and that'll make it really strong, okay? And there you go. Okay, now, this is a little sloppy looking right now. A little sloppy looking right now, I think. So what we're going to do, got a weird stray piece of thread here I need to take care of. I didn't cut my tag in short enough at the beginning. All right, so look at that. We got a nice, beautiful, but I'm going to put a chenille body on this. I'm going to go and put a chenille body on this little thing here. So I'm going to come back, down, get my thread bed, come back up. All right. And you can see my little kicker tails trying to separate. They'll do that, but the water pressure will generally push them back together. But if they slip past each other a little bit like that, don't worry about it. Fish don't care. Looks cool. Looks just like, fish's tail looks like that anyhow. Can look like this. It can look like this. We all have bait. We know baits go to a taper, just a single. Some of them will have little fishy tails. We know. Okay, so I just want that highlight. I just want that chartreuse highlight. I'm gonna finish the rest of this baby up in black, so that we got a black jig with just that shocking little shot of chartreuse in there. And I'm gonna come down. Throw that in there. All right, and then we gotta put, because I like my big fat bodies. Now see, that's a perfectly acceptable body. And if I was going to do, a one-turn body, then I'm going to start here, go this way, finish it off. Beautiful jig. Good jig. Good jig. And actually, on a hackle jig like this, I probably should have made a trimmer body, because this little fat body I'm going to do might be a little out of proportion. But I think it'll be just fine. I'll kind of brainwash myself on this. Plus, I want y'all to know, this is how we do it. We gotta hold that hackle down on there. This is tapering up toward the head, kind of a big fat middle head, and we're going to go round our hackle 1, 2 times at least, and of course me, Mr. Paranoid, 3 times. Snug that thread. And then we're going to clip and snip. There we go. And now comes your whip finish, and remember to slide your thread down over that head, and it'll disappear down into those wraps for you. And then you rock it back and forth. You can feel it. You'll feel it seat. And you know you got a good tight jig. And that doesn't need any more, but like I say, I'm kind of a wimp. I got to put an insurance knot in there just because, and that one really seats. And like I say, I don't snap the thread anymore. I don't know. I just feel that just snipping it off and leaving just a little 16th, 32nd, just a little tiny tag in, get you a stronger jig. Anyway, there you go. There is how to make use of off of either kind of hackle, although these Cape hackles, well, it just depends. Saddles have this too, but some have a lot of fluff down here, some don't. But we've got basically 3 sections that we make it out of. You know, we're going to do with the tips. That's great. Then we're going to do with here to here, and that's an accent. And we're going to do more with this material in videos coming up. But you got this part from here to here, and then you don't want to lose what we call the barb and fluff down here, because this is also fantastic, either for accents like this, or to make dubbing, or there's actual tiny micro jigs that use this fiber, and we're going to talk about that in another video. Coming up soon, I hope, God willing. All right. Well, it's been Crappie Hippie, your tree-hugging redneck from eastern Kansas, saying, hey, accent your jig tie, your hackle tie, with a little bit of central spine. Cut your V's, make yourself a nice little fiber tail, little accent tail to go with your hackle tip jig. This is Crappie Hippie, your tree-hugging redneck from eastern Kansas, saying tight lines and Valentines. Peace out.